Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It is going to be a hot one for us today as the U.S. Open still continues out there. We're going to talk about the forecast for that and as we head into the weekend coming up.
And Fayetteville police responded to reports of a shooting last night. What we're learning about the investigation so far.
Yeah, does it ever continue out here? Sunrise well beyond us in the Sandhills. They're out there, activity on the course right now. I'm Jeff Hogan. It's so good to have you with us here as we get cut day on a Friday started at Pinehurst.
What a day to get started, and on Jeff's birthday all day. We're just going to keep saying it because he is in his element and he got the best gift at all. He gets to cover the U.S. Open.
I know.
Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. We'll get back out to Jeff in just a minute. We might be able to see him actually behind Anthony. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione showing us Pinehurst right now. It's going to be a hot day. It is going to be a hot day. I was thinking, do we see him out there eating some birthday cake or something? But I think this is his present right there with how nice it is out there currently this morning. It's a good shot of our Pinehurst camera. As we go through today, though, it's going to be a hot one. So just keep that in mind. If you're headed to the golf tournament, if you're headed to the beaches, I think the beach actually would be pretty nice today with how hot it's going to be. But we said it's 74 currently, 74 in Durham as well. Low to mid 70s for the majority of us out there, and it's going to quickly climb to right about 94 this afternoon. I do think, though, as we get into the holiday weekend for Father's Day, temperatures will drop off just a little bit compared to today. This is going to be the hottest out of the next 7. We have a slight chance of a shower into tonight. Any and all rainfall of the plants I think would be loving here with this heat. We get later on this afternoon, Futurecast trying to pop up a couple sprinkles. I think with the air that we have in place right now being pretty dry, I don't think we're going to see anything today until we head late tonight, early tomorrow morning. As this front comes through, that could spark some moisture that we'll be watching. Otherwise, it will just be a hot forecast as we head into the weekend, Ken.
All right, Anthony, that crash we've been monitoring all morning long on I-40 westbound lanes in the near Miami Boulevard. It's relatively clear this morning. You can see the cameras going back and forth between I-40 and Miami Boulevard and I-40 and Wade Avenue, just showing you the backup this morning. Just a couple of law enforcement personnel remain there on the scene, but this is what it looks like on the sensors this morning. It's definitely clearing up, but you're seeing the lingering delays this morning there around Miami Boulevard and I-40 in those westbound lanes. We've been monitoring this crash on Falls of Noose Road in the southbound lanes. This is near Spring Forest Road. Right now, we're not seeing any major delays in that area, but just watch for some police activity if you have to navigate Spring Forest Road this morning. There's a crash on Capitol Boulevard in the southbound lanes near Durant Road. Not a problem for you this morning. Just keep in mind to just be careful as you're going through that area, giving those law enforcement officers an opportunity to work that crash scene safely. Elsewhere around the triangle and surrounding areas, most of our major roadways are relatively delay-free at this hour.
And breaking news overnight, a large number of police officers investigated a scene on Dandridge Drive in Fayetteville for hours. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Police arrived on scene in response to a shooting call around 12:30 this morning. We're trying to learn more about what happened at that scene.
It is going to be an extremely hot day in Pinehurst for round 2 of the U.S. Open. WRAL's Jeff Hogan is at Pinehurst number 2. And Jeff, those fans could be headed out there on what could be the hottest day of the year. Whew.
Yeah, they're going to feel it. They know it. They're coming prepared. They've got their water bottles filled up. I've been watching them come in to the hydration station, getting themselves ready to go. It is a cut day Friday, but you don't want to get cut down by this heat. That's for sure. We've been talking about it all week long, so the cumulative effect is there. We did notice some interesting trends among these fans yesterday. More than 12,000 grandstand seats around the course, and many were left empty because people just didn't want to sit there and bake in the sun.
I think third or fourth water bottle fill up and a few Cokes, yes, and shade wherever we can.
I mean, right now with the shade, it's very nice, but earlier out on the course, it was very hot.
They're coming in just needing a sunscreen, Band-Aids for blisters, walking around a lot. We've had a few that are coming in, especially later in the morning as the heat is picking up and some of the older patients aren't familiar with walking this kind of distance.
Yeah, fortunately, it's a relatively flat walk, but it could be a long distance that you're walking. Some of those medical technicians and experts have said no serious transports or anything of that nature. Let's take a live look at the scoreboard right now, what is moving here, because Rory McIlroy is moving on the golf course. He is out there. He has finished his first hole. He started on 10, so He is even par for today. He's still at 5 under par, tied with Patrick Cantlay. Ludwig Oberg is in second place at 4 under par right now as it stands. We'll get you another update here soon.
All right, thanks, Jeff. And WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune into WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins today with the second round. Jeff Hogan will return there again this morning. He's leading our coverage on WRAL. You can get all of our content on your phone, your tablet, and your TV.
The legality of the state's voting districts is back before the courts. A 3-judge panel heard arguments yesterday about partisan gerrymandering violates voters' right to a fair election. The North Carolina Constitution guarantees the right to free and frequent elections. It does not specifically say that we have the right to fair elections. Former state Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr argued it's clearly implied if it isn't in the text. And he says that drawing districts so one party or the other will win violates that right.
What good is a free election if it's not a fair election? What good are frequent elections if the results are preordained?
Well, my answer to that is that if they're free and frequent, they are fair.
State lawmakers attorney Phil Strach said it would be a mistake for judges to invent a new constitutional right. They're asking the courts to dismiss the lawsuit.
Former President Donald Trump says there is unity in the Republican Party after his meetings with GOP lawmakers. The meetings on Capitol Hill happened ahead of Trump's presumptive nomination as the Republican candidate for president. For the first time since he left the White House, Trump was reunited with Senator Mitch McConnell. And McConnell told reporters the meeting was, quote, entirely positive. All right, there will be bargains galore on US 301 today and tomorrow, too. Thousands of people will be stopping at sales on a 100-mile stretch of the road. They call this the Endless Yard Sale. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is in Johnston County live for this. Kelsey, I got to know, are you seeing any interesting things out there? I'm seeing so many people behind you. They've got to be looking for stuff that's good.
Chris, we have seen some items. I think the one that probably stands out the most is a firefighter uniform. So if you ever find yourself needing that, you can find that here at the sale. But you can see folks are here shopping. The sale has been underway for the past hour or so, and we're right around the corner from Selma Middle this morning. So this is one of the places that you can find vendors along 301. The sale spans across 5 counties and more than 100 miles along US 301. This event is designed to promote economic activity and tourism here in North Carolina. You can buy antiques, collectibles, clothing, and more. All of them sourced from different groups like nonprofits, restaurants, and shops. Now, the sale is today and tomorrow from 7 to 5. And if you want some more information about where to find those vendors, we have a link to the map on our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Johnston County.
Neighborhoods are underwater and people are stranded in Florida. Take a look at this. This is because of record-breaking rain that's causing widespread flooding. 5 counties in South Florida are under a state of emergency as millions remain at risk. Parts of the state have gotten up to 20 inches of rain since Tuesday. Authorities are warning people to stay off flooded roads. The storm is being blamed for 2 deaths. The area is bracing for even more rain today, and that could result in even more flooding. Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll hear from a St. Augustine student who has been stuck in Miami for days because of those storms.
NC State is asking the state Supreme Court to block outside access to Poe Hall. The school has decided outside testing cannot happen until it makes its final decision. Poe Hall has been closed since November after toxic chemicals known as PCBs were found inside. And people who worked and studied there have called for additional studies into the building's environment. NC State noted repeatedly in its filing that it has sovereign immunity.
Coming up, people in Arizona are having to evacuate because of large fires. How their weather is making firefighting efforts even more difficult.
And Tay-Tay made a big announcement when the end of an era is coming to her Eras Tour.
And as we check out currently what's going on there in the tropics, we have a system offshore right now. We have a new update, though, from the Hurricane Center on another system that potentially could form. We'll talk about where that one is coming up after the break.
And greetings from the fan experience here as we walk along what is a beautiful entryway from Gate 1 right up onto the areas where you can access the course. This is just some of the merchandise tents and things like that around here, a main scoreboard right here. The fan experience, I tell you, a lot of fans have experienced some of this heat. Anthony Baglione in the WRAL Weather Center right now, and some of the sunshine, Anthony. I'm seeing more people with umbrellas today, more people with some bucket hats, and more people with red faces from yesterday, so they got to be careful.
Yeah, I'm glad they're at least being smart here with the umbrellas in the water and things like that. We were talking yesterday, too, about the hydration stations that they have out there. Very much needed for us as we talk about the heat going into the weekend. Humidity levels currently, they've gone up a little bit, but they're not going to be where you walk outside and it's just uncomfortable all day long. However, if you're walking at the golf course, having to travel long distances, it doesn't take much where it just feels pretty sticky. So just keep that heat in mind. Our dew point at 65 right now. A lot of people are probably going to be headed close to some water today, or the air conditioning, but you head out there to our beautiful shot of White Lake. It's very still. You notice there's not much of a breeze to kind of blow around the water, have a little bit of a chop out there right now. That's going to be the case as we go through today. Not much of a breeze to cool us off. As we get into tonight, though, there is going to be a cold front coming through. That may drop temperatures a little bit as we head into the weekend. We head out there currently, all of us in the 70s, warming up nicely. 74 in Raleigh, Clinton, 71 in Goldsboro. Good morning to all of you. We're going to see high temperatures right about 94 this afternoon. So very, very hot for this time of the year. Our normal is about 87. The record is 97. So I don't have us quite getting there, but I think it's still going to be pretty toasty across the area. We head out there, talk about Futurecast, what we're expecting. So this system that is currently sitting offshore, this is the one that sparked all of the flooding issues, the flash flood emergency down in Florida. We are not expecting big concerns with that one. And also you can see on that system, a lot of times they get the heaviest moisture on the northeastern side. So that's all going to be pushed away from land as we go into the weekend. We, though, are going to track this cold front that's back to our west. It starts to spark up a few light showers as we get into tonight, early tomorrow morning. It crosses through the area. There's 1 o'clock on our Saturday morning. Again, some spotty showers along that. By the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, most of this is going to be done with, and I don't think we'll see much coverage. It may be just a little bit of some rain coming through that the plants, I think, will really love tonight, but you're still probably going to want to water here over the next week with some very dry conditions. 94 this afternoon is what we go for. 84 by the time we get to 9 o'clock this evening, so that goes to show you it's still going to be a pretty warm day for us. That cold front comes through tonight. A little bit of some better news if you don't love the heat. It's still going to be hot for the weekend, but feeling a little bit better behind the front. We go to 90 tomorrow, 89 on Sunday, and still into next week. Those 90s return with very little rain chances there, Ken, through the week.
All right, Anthony, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're monitoring a crash that happened just in the last half hour or so in Falls of New Southern in the southbound lanes near Spring Forest Road. We're not seeing any major delays in that area, so just watch for that police activity and be careful as you make your way around Spring Forest Road and in that vicinity as well. Elsewhere around the triangle, that's the crash we've been monitoring all morning long in those westbound lanes of I-40 near Miami Boulevard. That crash is cleared, but what you're seeing right now, just the lingering delays in that area. We're also monitoring the traffic around the U.S. Open. Just a little while ago, this area right there in the circle at Pinehurst, village of Pinehurst, there was bumper-to-bumper traffic. The good news is Highway 15 and US 1, the major routes that you're going to take to get down to Moore County, they're free and clear this morning. So keep in mind, if you're driving, there'll be a few roads that will be closed through Sunday: Morganton, Muster Branch, Pine Tree, and Village Green roads. And of course, expect heavy traffic in the village of Pinehurst.
All right, thank you, Ken. Firefighters in Arizona continue to battle a massive wildfire in Phoenix. The Rose Fire started late Wednesday afternoon and quickly spread across 160 acres, jumping Highway 60. The fire, fueled by strong winds and the dry, scorching heat there, has destroyed at least 6 homes. People who live in that area are being told to evacuate.
We walked out and looked and saw big plumes of smoke, and we decided to head for the hills.
Officials say this fire was human-caused. As of this morning, the fire is 20% contained. Firefighters are working through triple-digit temperatures to get it under control.
Evan Gershkovich's espionage case is headed to court in Russia. The Wall Street Journal reporter has been detained in Moscow since March of last year. He's accused of collecting secret defense and military information in Russia under instructions from the CIA. But he and the U.S. government deny the accusations. The Wall Street Journal calls the case an assault on free press.
The search for two missing Louisiana children has come to a tragic end. A mother and her 4-year-old daughter are dead. Authorities say Daniel Callahan was arrested in Jackson, Mississippi in connection to the case. Police say they found a missing 6-year-old girl in his car. Officers say he led them to the body of the 4-year-old. The girl's mother was found dead in her home. Authorities say she was in a relationship with Callahan.
A police chase in Washington state went from land into the water. Troopers in a patrol helicopter were called in to help police track a stolen car. Well, the suspected thief jumped from the car and raced to the river, and what you see here, stole a kayak, then tried to paddle away, but ran the kayak into the land. See, that's the problem there. He then ran away again, and officers were able to arrest him and charge him with possession of a stolen vehicle.
NC State researchers are part of a team that developed technology that could help improve navigation for self-driving cars. Self-driving cars use AI to convert 2D images into 3D maps. The new technology, called MVAcon, enhances these AI programs by making better use of the existing data from the cameras. Researchers will present their work on MVAcon at a conference in Seattle next Thursday.
It's been 25 years since Payne Stewart's iconic U.S. Open win at Pinehurst, and a statue commemorating the moment is front and center at the main gate this week. WRAL's Brett Neese sat down with the two women responsible for the statue's sleeveless look.
It's the putt that won Payne Stewart his second U.S. Open, and the fist pump pose that put an exclamation point on an iconic moment. His wardrobe was always part of his legend, but it's his sleeveless look that became an icon on its own.
Then he said, well, that's good. So he handed us the sleeves, and we actually put them in a plastic bag and just put them under the counter. Never thought about them ever again.
Patty Thompson and Margaret Swindell haven't forgotten that day. These two were working at Pinehurst during the 1999 championship.
Well, the weather was, the whole week we must have sold 1 million sweatshirts because it was cold and damp and foggy.
On that final round Sunday, Payne Stewart walked into the building they were working in, wearing a rain jacket.
When Payne came up to the counter, Margaret and I were talking and saying good morning, and another gal was there too. And he said, do you have any scissors? And I was kind of a smarty, and I said, what, do you want a haircut? And he didn't even smile, did he?
No, not at all.
He didn't break.
He was concentrating.
He was concentrating. He said, no, I just need them. I want to cut these sleeves off.
So they gave him a pair of scissors, and Stewart got to cutting off the sleeves of the rain jacket he thought was going to be too restrictive for his golf swing. Little did anyone know he would etch himself into history just hours later.
And he didn't do a very good job. No. You and I were actually, we were holding the garment for him a little bit because he was, trying to cut, and it was kind of jagged.
But perhaps the jaggedness made the look even more iconic. This week, the frayed edges of the makeshift vest are on display at the new World Golf Hall of Fame. But whatever happened to those forgotten sleeves?
We totally forgot them. My desk was in the office. They were literally in a desk drawer, in a bag, there for months. Yeah. We didn't ever think that anybody wanted to do anything with the sleeves.
Stewart tragically died in a plane crash 5 months after his U.S. Open triumph. A short time after his passing, Patty and Margaret remembered where they had stashed the sliced sections of that jacket. Today, those infamous sleeves are inside the Pinehurst clubhouse, along with the pair of scissors that did the work. These days, Patty works at Highland Golf Club, about 15 minutes away from Pinehurst. Meanwhile, Margaret works at the Pinecrest Inn, and every now and then, they overhear an overzealous golf fan attempting to retell this tale.
I'll hear stories, and the people say, oh, I was there when he cut his sleeves off, and I just laughed to myself. I said, no, you weren't.
Yeah, no.
It was Patty and myself.
Patty and Margaret say they tried offering him an actual vest from the merchandising part of the building, but, well, he refused. All right, starting next month, you'll have to pay to ride on a Go Raleigh bus. The bus service has been free for 4 years, but ride fares will be reinstated next month. Passengers can expect to pay $1.25 for one trip, or the discounted 60 cents per ride.
Taylor Swift's Eras Tour will come to an end by the end of the year. During her 100th show of the tour yesterday, Swift announced the last show will be in December. She thanked all of her fans for their efforts and for coming along for the ride. The Eras Tour has spanned 5 continents and will log 152 shows. So don't worry if you haven't made it to a show yet. She'll be back in the States this fall, and then she will head to Canada with her final show being in Vancouver on December 8th. But Chris, a lot of people are saying her international shows are cheaper than what they are to go here in the States.
No matter where she's going to be going, she'll be counting a big old bag of money at the end of it. All right, we're also following some serious stories on WRAL News. An overnight crash happened on Rayford Road in Fayetteville. What we're learning about the two vehicles involved in this.
And we'll continue to cover all things U.S. Open and Pinehurst into our next half hour here on Fox 50.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
We did it, team. We made it to Friday. Time is 8:26. I'm Chris Lovingood. We'll get to some of your stories in just a bit. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Anthony Baglione on weather.
Yeah, we're heading into the weekend, and it's going to be a hot one for us through the rest of today. 94 degrees is what we should hit for a high temperature. And keep in mind, if you're headed out across the area, we should be dry, though. So I think we're not really going to see any big disruptions as far as storm systems, but it's not going to help to cool us off much. So just keep that in mind. If you are headed to the beaches, we also could see some high rip currents because of this system that's sitting offshore. We are not expecting any development with this one, but the one in the Gulf of Mexico, that one could develop a little bit further as we head into the next couple days closer to Mexico, Ken.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Things have relatively calmed down just quite a bit. You can see the Beltline right there, nothing to worry about this morning, as well as all the major thoroughfares. Now, we are seeing in those southbound lanes there on 885 in the Durham Freeway a bit of a slowdown this morning, but that's expected. People are heading to work at this hour. Let's give you a live look around in Raleigh. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. The good news is traffic is flowing nicely in both directions.
Jeff Hogan on a cut day Friday, live at the U.S. Open. Outside the merch tent here, they're expected to sell 400,000 hats this week alone. Everybody walking around with a bag here. Who's going to doff their cap on Sunday, though? You got to make the cut. We'll have a live report on the leaderboard next.
Fayetteville police responded to a crash on Rayford Road near Skybo Road around midnight. You can see the damage to a black SUV right here. You can also see a budget rental truck was involved as well. And so WRAL is working to learn what led up to the crash and if anyone was injured. Next on Fox 50 and up on Next on Today, DreamWorks, the land that is at Universal Studios. It's opening, and we're going to give you a look.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
A crash in Fayetteville caused heavy damage to two cars. What we know about the vehicles involved.
And it is already a warm start for us this morning. It's going to be very hot as we head into this afternoon, though. We'll talk about just how warm temperatures will get coming up.
The 301 Endless Yard Sale is underway. Coming up, a preview of what's happening here this weekend.
And we're here at the driving range at the U.S. Open, where some of the bigger names at golf are getting ready to tee off. Coming up, we'll bring you live here with what's going on.
Day two of the U.S. Open underway. There's a lot of golfers out there, a lot of fans. It's going to be a hot day, though. We'll get you caught up on everything you need to know. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lovingood. I love how everyone who's on that specific shot uses their golf voice because they know they're behind. So we're going to go ahead and toss it over to Anthony Baglione right now in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Anthony.
Thank you, guys. I'll take it from here. Now we have a beautiful forecast out there, guys. Yeah, it's going to be a hot day as we head out to the golf course. Yeah, it's always so relaxing to watch golf, I think. But we're talking about where we're headed here the next couple days. Let's check out our White Lake camera. Very calm out there right now. It's going to be a relaxing weekend for us. We have no big storm systems on the way. Just make sure, though, if you are headed out across the area, to have a lot of water handy. It's going to be just toasty for us the next couple days. 74 currently is where we sit in Raleigh, Clinton, Durham, also South Hill, 73 in Rocky Mount, 71 in Goldsboro right now. It's a little humid. It's not off the charts. I think it's going to be tolerable is what we'll call it today. 94 for us this afternoon. A great pool day, too, if you're headed out. 89 at 7 o'clock. Just make sure to wear the sunscreen. That UV index is going to be very high for us the next couple days. 94 today. We go to 90 tomorrow behind a cold front. And then Father's Day actually is going to be the coolest day of the weekend at 89. 92 Monday, 93 on Tuesday. Keep in mind, very little rain chances for the next week. So make sure to water those plants, Ken.
All right, Anthony, happening now in the WRAL Bureau Traffic Center. This is a live look right now at I-885, those northbound lanes. Just a bit of a slowdown we're seeing this morning, but nothing really that's going to make you too late for work. So just know that the traffic is still moving in that area of the Durham Freeway and I-885 this morning. Elsewhere, we're monitoring this crash in Chapel Hill on Fordham Road, US 15. It's near Manning Drive. We're seeing some bumper-to-bumper traffic really going back toward the Highway 86. If you want to get around this, I would recommend taking 86 and working your way back to US 15 this morning, just to be on the safe side. Elsewhere, we're seeing this crash of falls of news in northern Wake County this morning in the southbound lanes near Spring Forest Road. We're not seeing any major delays in that area, but just watch for some police activity as you're making your way through there. Also around the Triangle, all the major routes like 87 coming in from Knightdale and I-540 this morning, free and clear. Good news this time of the morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. We are working to learn more about a crash overnight in Fayetteville. This was what it looked like on Rayford Road and Skyboat Road around midnight. Notice that damage done to the black SUV in this video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. You can also see a budget rental truck was involved in this. And we have made calls in to learn exactly what led up to this crash and if anyone was injured.
The second round of the U.S. Open is today at Pinehurst number 2. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is at the warm-up range looking out for all the big names in golf. Heidi.
Michelle, that's right. And there's been quite a steady stream of golfers out here this morning. You'll see them right now out on the driving range. It sure is beautiful out there. One thing that I have noticed, as it started to get warmer, you'll start to see a lot more water bottles out there. And I've definitely got mine with me. Now, the energy is great out here, especially from the fans. And we've seen some big names, including Rory McIlroy this morning. And the fans were really going crazy for him. You'll see a lot of cameras out, a lot of excitement from people here, ready to see their favorite players and getting ready for those tee times. Of course, we've had quite a few earlier this morning, but lots of people are still wrapped in, and there's a lot of excitement out here. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Pinehurst.
All right, thank you, Heidi. And there are many ways to get involved at the U.S. Open, even if you're not a pro golfer. Jeff Hogan speaks to a North Carolina college student about her unorthodox role at the USGA tournament.
There are so many different pathways to Pinehurst, if you will. You could qualify as a player or be that person's caddy, or you could volunteer, or you could be an intern, which is what Jessica McCahan did. Jessica, a rising senior, UNC Greensboro, right? But from Red Springs, just outside Fayetteville.
Yes. I'm from a small town, so it's a great opportunity to have this experience here for sure, yes.
Information systems and supply chain management.
Yes.
How does that translate to golf?
Right, so I'm not really from a big town, so just getting to know more about the behind the scenes of golf, just seeing how the golf clubs are built, how golf ball is made, all of that just transpires to something I'm very interested in. And with information systems supply chain, I just like seeing how one product gets to the next part, especially with the technology side. That's a really big thing for me, and my concentration is actually in cybersecurity, so just making sure how different things aren't getting hacked, because a lot of people pay big money for this event. So it's just like you have to make sure that everything is precise, everything is on track and that. So, yeah.
And can you hit a golf ball?
I can hit a golf ball, actually. With this internship, we went to Golf Pride, and I hit a couple swings, got a few yards, so I was definitely proud of myself. A lot of the different interns said, "You're a natural," and I was like, oh, thank you.
You made some connections.
Yes, I did. So many great people down along. Like, I'm just learning so much, just not from a lot of the CEOs and the presidents and people like in Deloitte, Lexus, those big things. I'm learning so much from the people beside me, because they know so much about the game, and just learning so much about the game. It's just so amazing. So it's a great opportunity for sure. And
I know you don't take it for granted. That is for sure.
Of
Hey, you made the cut in this interview, right? Just like you made the cut in the interview, because the USGA had over 300 applicants for this. Jessica McCahan makes the cut for sure. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. And WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune in to WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins today with the second round. Jeff Hogan is out there this morning, obviously leading our coverage on WRAL. You can get all of our content on your phone, tablet, and TV.
A second person was arrested in connection to a deadly shooting in Goldsboro. 18-year-old Samuel Thompson is charged with first-degree murder, and he's expected to appear in court today. It happened back on January 13th on North Madison Avenue. A 17-year-old died in the shooting. You're looking at video of investigators at the scene. Last month, 21-year-old Kenyatta Sutton was arrested and charged at the shooting. Thompson is being held without bond.
Parts of South Florida remain crippled this morning by heavy rains and life-threatening flooding. Take a look at this video. More than 20 inches of rain have fallen this week in some areas, with more on the way. And it's not just affecting people on the road, but also their air travel as well. Many people are stranded as flights in and out of Florida airports are delayed and canceled. Among the people feeling the effects is St. Augustine student Telshawn Leary. She has been stuck in Miami after her flights were canceled Wednesday and Thursday. She says on top of the frustration, it's also been very costly.
And I had to pay over, I think it was $400 for food, hotel, find a ride because they have no shuttles for the airport.
More than 300 flights in and out of the Miami airport were canceled yesterday.
100 miles of deals along Highway 301 this weekend. The endless yard sale is what I'm talking about. It is back starting this morning. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey has a preview of this massive event.
We're right around the corner from Selma Middle School. This is one of the areas where vendors will be set up along 301, and the endless yard sale is now underway. Vendors started getting set up early this morning. The sale spans across 5 counties and more than 100 miles along US 301. This event is designed to promote economic activity and tourism here in North Carolina. You can buy antiques, collectibles, clothing, and more, all sourced from different groups like nonprofits, restaurants, and shops. Becky and Brandon Edwards drove 4 hours from Virginia today to take advantage of some of those bargains.
It's a bunch of sales all in one place. Instead of driving around looking for local sales, just come where they all are.
Yesterday when we were setting up, people from Florida, talked to someone from Georgia, so they're coming from all over. This is a very popular yard sale.
The sale is today and tomorrow from 7 until 5. And if you want a map of all of those vendor locations, just go to our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Johnston County.
Talk about a very unique audience at the Vatican today. Pope Francis just met with comedians from around the world, including Jimmy Fallon, Whoopi Goldberg, and Chris Rock. The Vatican invited this audience to promote a message of peace, love, and solidarity. The Pope was the headliner. He just talked to the crowd, and the Pope told the group that, I love this quote, "It's not blasphemy to laugh at God." Other heavy hitters there were Stephen Colbert, Conan O'Brien, Jim Gaffigan. That's just from the U.S. There were more than 100 comedians there from 14 different countries. Afterward, the folks also had a chance to greet the Pope. Now, later today, a different audience. The Pope will be meeting with heads of state, including President Joe Biden. Thanks, Renee. More problems for Boeing, the latest manufacturing issue the company has identified in its 787 Dreamliner aircrafts.
Andrea looking live over Andrea this morning. Wow, what a beautiful way to wake up. What a hot way to wake up, in fact. Coming up, meteorologist Anthony Baglione will let us know what temperatures we're expected to see today and through the weekend.
Well, you talk about some iconic sites, right? The links at Pebble Beach, right? Look at all the dates that are coming around for U.S. Open sites there. Winged Foot, can't go wrong with that, but just one date in the coming years. And we come to Pinehurst, now the first anchor site here for the USGA. You know, they built right up the street here and made this HQ2, so a headquarters for the USGA, Pinehurst Resort and Country Club. We will enjoy this. We won't have to wait so long. It's been 10 years. Oh, we'll wait 5 more years and get it right back here. Beautiful day at Pinehurst as folks making their way into cut day here on a Friday. Anthony Baglione in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
It's going to be a warm one out there for us, Jeff. But yeah, it looks like a really nice start this morning. Temperatures currently are in the 70s. We sit at 75 Southern Pines, and then let's say low to mid 70s for everyone across the area. One thing you will notice today is definitely going to be the humidity, but it's not going to be as bad as it could be. So it's going to be where you walk outside and think, oh, it's a little bit humid for us for sure, but it's not going to be just kind of gross, if you will, just not tolerable at all. We go to 94 this afternoon, though, a lot of sunshine, no problems expected for us other than the heat. If you're sensitive to that, just make sure to keep in mind that we will have that heat with us for probably the next, let's say, 6 to 7 days at least. Heading to the beaches, too, I want to emphasize we have at least the potential for some high rip currents into the weekend. It's due to this system that's currently sitting offshore. This is the one that went through Florida over the past couple of days. They've had flash flood warnings, flash flood emergencies. It has not been a good situation in that part of the country. Where it sits right now is, of course, offshore. It has a very low chance of developing into a, let's say, named tropical system, but it could bring us some high rip current threats, some pretty rough surf along our beaches here into our weekend. There's a look at the rip current threat for us today. You see from Atlantic Beach all the way down toward Myrtle Beach. It's in the moderate category. Heading up toward the Outer Banks, including Ocracoke, it goes up to high. Just wherever you're at, make sure to use a little bit of extra caution. Those rip currents, by the way, they'll never pull you under. They may pull you out decently far, but if you can swim parallel to the shore, take a breath, that's kind of what the recommendation is for rip currents. Let's talk about this system, too. This is down in the southwestern portion of the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of moisture associated with this one. One update from the Hurricane Center this morning. They've taken those chances there for the next 7 days, bumped them up from 40% to 50%. What that's saying, not a huge change necessarily, but this one is likely to at least have a decent potential of becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm into next week. It will likely head closer to Mexico and not be a big effect, though, to anyone in the United States. We'll keep watching that one, though, closely. We go to 94 for us this afternoon, 90 on our Saturday, the coolest day there, relatively speaking, on our Sunday at 89. Father's Day is looking very nice. It will be dry through the weekend at 92 on our Monday, 93 Tuesday. We continue that hot stretch of weather here all the way through next week. It doesn't look like we have any rain chances until maybe a slight chance, guys, as we head late tonight, early tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Today, the high school in Parkland, Florida, where the mass shooting happened in 2018, will be demolished. It was supposed to be demolished yesterday, but weather led to it being postponed until today. 17 people died at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School during that shooting. The building has remained untouched since that shooting. The shooter is serving a life sentence with no possibility of parole.
Boeing says it is working on a new quality control program involving one of its popular planes. The latest problem is with its 787 Dreamliner. The company says hundreds of fasteners on the plane's fuselage appear to have been over-tightened and installed incorrectly. Boeing says the affected planes have not yet been delivered to airlines, and this comes as Senate lawmakers take part in a hearing on airline safety. This happened yesterday with the FAA chief Mike Whitaker testifying.
Tomorrow, the U.S. Olympic swimming trials will get underway in Indianapolis. Over 730 swimmers, some from right here in the Triangle, are competing for a spot on the 2024 Olympic team. The first of 9 days of races is tomorrow. Olympic legend Katie Ledecky will race Saturday in a venue normally home to the Indianapolis Colts. Only 2 swimmers will qualify in each of 28 races. 3-time Olympic gold medalist Rowdy Gaines explains the margins can be incredibly narrow.
4/100ths of a second between 3 swimmers.
And that's how tight it is in having a dream come true and becoming an Olympian, which lasts forever, or going home in 3rd place and not being that Olympian. It's heartbreaking.
Qualifying heats start tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock on Peacock. Primetime coverage will continue tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on WRAL. In the 2021 trials, 5 swimmers missed making the team by 0.2 of a second or less. And WRAL is your home for all things related to the Summer Games. The opening ceremony is July 26th. WRAL's Liz McLaughlin will be in Paris with live coverage throughout the competition.
The College World Series gets started today in Omaha, Nebraska. In the first game, UNC will take to the field. They'll play Virginia, and that game will get started at 2 this afternoon. NC State is also in the 8-team tournament. The Wolfpack will play their first game tomorrow at 2 o'clock against Kentucky.
A new center to protect abused children is open in Wake County. Safe Child is the only organization in Wake County that is dedicated to eliminating child abuse and providing resources for families. It's designed to help children feel safe as the center works with caseworkers, physicians, child counselors, and law enforcement.
We've been able to decrease our wait list from over a month to about 1 to 2 weeks, which is just a game changer for the way that these cases are handled and launching these children and family towards justice and healing.
The center serves families with children from birth up into their 18th birthday. And for North Carolinians between the ages of 10 and 18, suicide is the second leading cause of death. That's sobering. New statistic is from the state health department. Health leaders from over 60 counties talked about ways to curb this trend during the first statewide suicide prevention summit. Experts say support and outreach are needed now more than ever.
The numbers we have right now in terms of mental health in kids, suicide rates across the board from elderly rural white people all the way through black youth are the worst they've ever been.
Help is available by calling 988. That is the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Somebody is available 24/7. State health officials say North Carolinians have called that lifeline 100,000 times over the past year.
There are a lot of Juneteenth events happening this weekend, including a big celebration at Dix Park. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan has the details and out and about's best bets for the weekend.
Juneteenth is June 19th, but there are a lot of events happening this weekend in the Triangle to help you celebrate. One of the biggest is the Capital City Juneteenth celebration at Harvey Hill at Dix Park. On Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m., there's going to be entertainment, food, vendors, and family fun. WRAL's Ken Smith and Lena Tillett are emceeing this year's event. WRAL is the official media partner. On Friday night, enjoy some live music from Dave Matthews Band at Coastal Credit Union Music Park at Walnut Creek. Also Friday night, Dwight Yoakam will be live at Red Hat Amphitheater. And on Saturday night, enjoy a free screening of the movie Minions: The Rise of Gru at Joyner Park in Wake Forest. The movie night starts at 7:30 p.m. and includes a meet and greet with the Minions, followed by the movie screening at 8:30. These are just a few ways to get out and about this weekend. Kathy Hanrahan, WRAL News.
Well, here's a unique look at Boeing's Starliner capsule docked with the International Space Station. The image was taken last Friday. That's the day after the spacecraft arrived at the ISS. Starliner's first ever piloted mission launched last week with NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams aboard. The astronauts are expected to return sometime after the 18th.
Today, a clothing sale in Durham will help raise money to support unemployed and underemployed women. The Dress for Success Summer Boutique Sale gets started this morning at the organization's Durham location on William Vickers Avenue. You can shop from 11 to 5 today and then 10 to 4 tomorrow. The store offers new and like-new professional, casual, and athletic summer clothing there. The sale raises money to support women with the tools they need to help them succeed at work and in life. Finally, a sea turtle in Florida got a little help from some friends. When members of the Flagler County Sheriff's Office got a call, a turtle was in distress. They came to the rescue. The turtle got stuck at some point, making its way into the ocean, and so a deputy and firefighters were able to remove it from the rocks, carry it to the surf, and the turtle swam back out to sea. Yay, turtle.
Yay, love that. All right, before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We will get another check on weather and traffic coming up next.